All right. Good afternoon. Matt, the mortgage guy here, recording a quick video to talk about Biden's $15,000 first-time home buyer tax credit. Now, I'm going to dig into the different things that have been proposed, the different drafts that have been put out, and now finally this one is actually a bill, and the difference between all of that, right? Because people are probably getting confused between there's a $15,000 one, there's a $25,000 one, something was a draft, this is a bill. What's the difference? Who's going to qualify? Who's it going to affect? Can I get it if I bought a house in 2021? All this stuff I'm going to answer. So before I jump into it, if you like straightforward content from a mortgage broker who's in the trenches dealing with home buyers every single day, please lightly press the thumbs up button. If you think I'm a complete idiot, then you can press thumbs down. But hopefully you don't. So anyway, a little bit of my opinion too on things that they can do as they're making adjustments to this bill to make it better. Things that I think that maybe they need some folks who are involved in the mortgage industry and real estate community to weigh in to help them out, because maybe there's some suits that just don't know how to write these things to really do what they're set out to do. Biden, pre-election, during the election, post-election, has always talked about home ownership being a priority. Home ownership for those who historically have had low ownership rates, certain demographics, it's obviously a priority. So stuff is going to pass. This bill may get passed as early as Q3 or Q4 of 2021, but housing bills and home ownership tax credits, home buyer incentives, this stuff is coming. And there's no two ways about it. Hopefully they do it right. Hopefully they do it to where it's most impactful for the people they're trying to impact. But it's coming because it's a priority there. So without further ado, I'll just get into it, kind of read the bill, give some of my take on what it is. So first and foremost, it was probably not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the $25,000 bill where it's like, you got to be a first generational buyer. You have to, you're going to get more if you're from a certain demographic, which was Hispanic, Black, Asian, or Native American. This one's different. We got to go all the way back to last August when Biden, his campaign had wrote something about a $15,000 tax credit. And here's the big difference I see in this and what they initially talked about last August. Last August, they talked about, they wanted this to be similar to the one that Bush proposed and Obama signed in 2008, where folks got an $8,000 tax incentive to buy as a first-time buyer. Except for that, when they proposed this $15,000 one, they said, we want to do it to where you get the money at close. You don't have to wait to file your taxes. Now I'm reading this bill, which, Earl Blumenauer and somebody else co-wrote it with him, Jimmy Panetta. This one to me talks about a tax credit, which let me divert there and give a little bit of color in my opinion to this. The people that I know that are, really at a disadvantage are the people that more than anything need help with the down payment. More than anything, need help getting in. And so offering the tax credit where it's not helping with down payment, it's going to make it tough for those people. That's just my personal opinion. I just talk to borrowers all day, every day. That's all I do. And plenty of borrowers, 2 income earners that can qualify for a $300,000 purchase. They just don't have 3.5% down plus closing costs or 3% down plus closing costs. So hopefully we can do something. Now here's the caveat, right? Is we want to do something to help these folks. We don't want to do something that's going to hurt them in the long run or hurt the housing market as a whole, right? Because you inject more demand, the housing market that's already on fire gets gasoline poured from the skies on it. It makes the fire worse, right? And so giving a $15,000 home buyer incentive to make every first-time home buyer have to go pay $50,000 more for every house available to them because everything's gone up in price, exponentially. Just like lowering interest rates spurs demand and makes prices go up, something like this that's encouraging home ownership will increase demand. You can do it the right way, though. I think you can do it in a way that won't be catastrophic, right? So in order to be eligible for the full credit, you have to be a first-time buyer. A first-time buyer, this is in a lot of different definitions of first-time buyer, have not owned or purchased a home within the past 3 years. That's easy. You got tax returns and you haven't owned a home, claimed a home in the last 3 years. And it's going to be targeted towards low and middle income earners. No more than 160% of the area median income. Now, let me show you what that means. Type in your address. If you type in like area median income lookup tool or something, this is from Fannie Mae. Excuse me. It'll tell you your area median income. So let's just do it for area I'm in Sacramento. 86,700 times 160. You could make up to 138,720 and be eligible for this program. And maybe I wonder if I just typed in a random address, 123 Main Street, like Yuba City. What's that one going to be? We're just looking at different. Yeah, see, this area is 75. It needs like a full address, I think. I can't type in like Kansas City, Missouri. Wow. Kansas City, Missouri, the income's 86,000. What about like Cleveland, Ohio? Man, people are making good money all over the place. So anyhow, you take that, you times it by 160. You got to be under that to be eligible. And the purchase price must be no more than 110% of the area median purchase price. You can't buy expensive homes. You can't be a high income earner. Makes sense, right? And you could claim this credit for primary residence purchased after December 31st. This is cool. If you bought a house in early 2021, February of 2021, and you qualify, you apply for that on your taxes and you get the tax incentive. So anybody who bought a house Q1 of 2021 is rooting for this bill. You're going to get a cool little tax break if it passes, on top of the fact that are going to see a ton of appreciation in 2021 from the house you bought. Would have to be in it for 4 years as your primary residence, or you're going to, have to pay a portion of it back tax-wise, right? Which makes sense. They want it to be your primary residence. They want you to move in and stay there. It's a key campaign promise of Joe Biden. We know that, right? The Joe Biden and his administration want to do stuff to spur homeownership, especially among affected groups. It's saying here that it differs, like I said, from that first generation homebuyers down payment assistance grant, the one that Maxine Waters put out. This is probably like 2 weeks ago, right? So it's totally different. And the person who put this together said in a statement, there's room for both proposals. So like I said, if it's a really important thing for this administration, it might not be the only one. It might be this one and that one. It might be this one and something totally different. But important thing to remember is we've got a bunch of drafts. We've got a bunch of ideas. This one's actually a bill. This is a bill that can get signed, and this thing could be enacted 3 months from now, and go. So, moving faster than I think a lot of us thought they would with some of this stuff. And, some more verbiage on build wealth within communities that face systemic exclusions in the housing market. Here's something that I found interesting, and I don't know the numbers, so I'm just throwing this out there, and maybe in the comment section, being kind, please. Anything like this that's a little bit touchy, people start to just get nasty. I don't want nasty. There's just no room for that. We've seen enough divisiveness. We've been through enough as a country. Let's just be kind to each other. But I'm interested to see, because this is meant to, help certain demographics, if there's anything out there that can point to like this $8,000 one that during Obama's administration from 2008 to 2010, if they have data for who it actually helped. because this one's going to increase homeownership among low and moderate income Americans. I do not personally recall whether there was income limits on that $8,000 credit under Obama's administration. I don't think there was. I think that everybody got it. It was just trying to spur homeownership as a whole because the real estate market, collapsed on itself. So be interesting to see if there's any data about how that $8,000 credit helped different demographics, right? And then just in closing, a little stat that shows that the IRS or an IRS watchdog looked into it, and there was like 74,000 questionable claims. People that were younger than 18, they had home ownership in the last 3 years, or they claimed the credit and never bought a house. False claims, which you're always going to have, right? PPP loans are available, and there's people that are filing for those and getting those that aren't eligible, shouldn't be eligible. So anyway, that's that. Would love to conversate on it and talk about it. As these things get proposed and actually bills get written, it shows that they're moving fast and want to make things happen and spur home ownership. The only thing that I say as a mortgage broker who is in the trenches working with first-time home buyers and know how hard it is for first-time home buyers, if you do this incorrectly, it's going to make it even harder. And especially like something like this where you give incentive, but it doesn't come until tax time. It doesn't help people who have issues with down payment. I think that's the demographic that's truly the most impacted. The ones that are first-time buyers, quote unquote, but have $80,000 down, they're in a better spot, right? The people that don't have the money to put down to get to that tax credit at the end of the year are the ones that need it the most. So as much as I don't think that we just slam programs in that create more demand, when we do, and if we're going to, I believe it's got to be something that's given to borrowers at closing, because the most impacted demographics need that, in my humble opinion. Hope you enjoyed it. Would love to get constructive feedback, discussion in the comments. Just be kind. That's my only ask. Hope this is helpful. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.